All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to our first episode of Learning Lines, where I try and actually learn how to play a deck properly. Basically, the idea of this series is that I'm going to be trying to learn some decks that I otherwise don't play too often and want to get a better feel for. Yeah. So today we have four color Loam. It's kind of a interesting list. I threw it together based off of some people in the Facebook group's suggestion. Four color Loam Facebook group, just saw what people were sort of running in that with some interesting tech. Saw some things from 5.0 lists and just decided to throw some stuff together that I thought would be interesting. So for those who don't know what this deck is all about, we're a Mox Diamond Chalice of the Void deck. We're kind of like a smush together between the lands deck and Maverick. We're kind of like Jund esque, but we have mana acceleration with Mox Diamond. We have a bunch of utility lands that we can fetch up with Knight of the Reliquary. We have Chalice of the Void, which we can drop on turn one for one. We have no one drops in. Well, we have two one drops in the 75, but we do not run one drops for the most part. We have three Punishing Fires to deal with smaller things. The combo there with Grove of the Burn Willows, where we tap this, an opponent gets life. We use that red to return this back to our hand, so we get some card advantage that way. We have Liliana the Veil to basically deal with annoying creatures that we can edict, and then also thin out our opponent's hands while our card advantage engines are just humming along. We have four Dark Confidants, which are definitely worse now that Red and Six is such a key player, for sure. But this card, kind of similar in Modern. I play a lot of Modern Jund, and people were sort of off on this. Red and Six is obviously better in Legacy than in Modern, but and there's also Plague Engineer as well. But when this card is good, it is really good. If you drop it against a control deck, it's kind of like a must answer. Situation. So yeah, it's in the deck. It's doing its thing. We'll see how good it is. We have four Abrupt Decay. This is, I would say, one of the best cards in all of Legacy right now. It answers all of the really annoying threats that are out there. Deals with Red and Six, deals with Tarmogoyf, deals with Delver, deals with other Knights of the Reliquary. The fact that everyone is packing so much counter magic with dazes and force of negations and force of wills just makes it that this is just such a good card to have when you need to deal with random threats. We have three Red and Six. These will basically help us with our plan of doing land based things. We can get Red and Six out on turn one, which is really, really good, especially on the play. If you're against Delver, you might be able to just like turn off their Delver of Secrets, like trap them in their hand. You can start doing Wasteland recursion pretty easily. Because Mox Diamond's going to make you discard a land, you can get it back immediately, and it really is like you didn't waste too many resources accelerating. We have one Sylvan Library. I know a lot of lists run two, but I kind of wanted to just see how it would work with just one. Yeah, I don't know if that's correct or not, but we also have one Life from the Loam. Again, some lists kind of cut this, but I decided to just do 1 and 1 to sort of see how they feel. Some interesting tech we have here. We have one Savine Sevens Reclamation. I don't remember which list I saw run this, but I thought it was pretty cool. I think it was one of the 5.0 lists from this past week. So this card's great in high resource matches because basically it'll allow you to recur all of your things that you want to get back. Let you get back a Planeswalker or a Knight of the Reliquary, and if you're flashing it back, you can get two. So the flashback cost is also really relevant because if you're in a game where you're going to start discarding stuff or dredging with Life from the Loam, this can easily end up in your graveyard, and it might just give you that little extra punch at the end to get some more resources to win out a game. Plague Engineer, generally just good card. Have one in the main board. Three Liliana the Veils, as I already said. Card that doesn't see a ton of play in Legacy, but we try to run our deck with like very few resources. It's not uncommon for you to mulligan to like 6 and then after turn 1, you have like 1 card in hand or 2 cards in hand. So on turn 3, you can just sort of start not discarding anything, and your opponent has to start discarding. 4 Knight of the Reliquary is to just be huge. This card is definitely good for the toolbox style of it, but it also is somewhat relevant right now that it can challenge Gurmag Anglers and Tarmogoyfs and stuff when you're running up against Rug Delver or 4-color Delver. In the sideboard, we got 4 Leyline of the Void. Just, we need to do something against graveyards, and we can't use Surgical because it's a 1-mana card. So instead, we're packing 4 Leylines. Something that so I've already played like a little bit with this deck, right? Definitely not an expert. That's kind of the point of the series, as I said, of trying to just learn to be better. But I was reading about I basically never thought about doing this, but Leyline of the Void against Rug Delver is really, really good. Because you can, turn off or make their Tarmogoyf smaller, make Red and Tix bad, make Gurmag Angler for 4-color Delver harder to cast, or basically impossible to cast. So definitely a relevant card at the moment. We have 2 Swords of Plowshares. It is a 1-mana card, but sometimes you just need to have that sort of spot removal type situation. We got 2 Thalias for Storm and the like, Sanctum Prelate for similar things. We have another Plague Engineer just to sort of round out the one we have in the main board. 2 Chokes to deal with islands, an Assassin's Trophy to deal with other permanents, which in very grindy games, if you get an emblem off of Red and 6, having Assassin's Trophy out can definitely lock out a game. We have a Sorcerer's Spyglass to deal with opposing planeswalkers and annoying things. And then we also have 1 Huntmaster of the Fells, too. This is sort of, from what I've been seeing, a flex slot in the sideboard. There's a lot of 4-mana threats that people are sort of putting in here. I've seen a Johnny Vengeant. I've seen Queen Marchesa. And I kind of was playing with those a little bit and for a few matches here and there, but I wanted to try out Huntmaster. I think that the benefit that this card has over those other ones is that so a Johnny can get beat down if it's not dropped on an empty board, right? You can use it as a removal spell, but other than that, you want to get some value out of this 4-mana card. Queen Marchesa, sure, you'll become the Monarch, but in so many matches, I feel like you either were already winning that if you're dropping a 4-mana creature, or you are not going to be the Monarch for long. Like they'll have a Delver of Secrets or something. But Huntmaster is kind of good in that you drop it and then you just leave it, and they need to answer it right away, but they can't directly interact with it other than some sort of removal spell. So if you just let this sit for a while, it'll just accumulate value over time. As far as the lands that we're running, got a few interesting things here. So we have 3 Wastelands, and I'm only running 3 because we also have Ghost Quarter. Honestly, I've been running into so many Rug Delver matchups. It's just like that. This card is Wasteland in that matchup. It does the exact same thing. But also it allows you to, against slower matches, have some inevitability. Legacy decks don't run infinite number of basic lands, so being able to recur this with Ren and 6 or Life from the Loam can definitely lock out some games that otherwise you wouldn't be able to lock out if you just had Wastelands. We have Tranquil Thicket. This is our cycle land of choice. Basically, we can add this card back to our hand after cycling it with Ren and 6, and then all of a sudden we have some extra card draw that we wouldn't have already had, otherwise had. We have 1 Silent Clearing as another cycle land. Sure, you have to play this one, but I wanted to have a extra dual land because of 1 card that I haven't spoken about yet. We are running the Dark Depths combo as well. So we got Dark Depths and Thespian Stage, and then we also have a Maze of Ith. From what I was seeing from lists, this might be a little light on lands because of the fact that we're running the Dark Depths combo. I don't really know. Like, we're running 26. I've definitely seen 27 as more of a standard, especially because this is kind of a blank as far as lands. But I do like having the combo as like an extra out, because it might just be something that your opponent forgets about or doesn't realize that you could possibly throw out there. We have a Caracas to deal with opposing Merit Lages, Hogax, other annoying things. What else do we got here? Bunch of fetch lands to just sort of give us some value with some land to the graveyard to make Knight of the Reliquary bigger. Maze of Ith to deal with attackers. And then as far as dual lands, we got one Badlands, one Bayou, one Savannah, one Scrubland, one Taiga. And then for basics, we just have a forest and a swamp. I've also seen people either doing like just a forest or just a swamp, generally just a forest. I want to do both just because, you know, I feel like one of the easiest ways that this deck can get wrecked is just getting Wasteland locked like too early in the game. So the last card I haven't talked about is a little bit of tech that I've been working with. I saw someone else running it, and then I had been playing this in some other decks, and it just seems like a really, really good card. Tomic Distinguished Advocate. So this slot often is used for like Gaddock Teague or I don't know, some other stuff. But this card shuts off a lot. It shuts off opposing wastelands. It challenges Delver. It turns off depths combo stuff. Turns off Ren and 6. So it's pretty good. The downside is that it's double white in our 4-color deck, which we already are not running too heavy on white. So this card is questionable, but I kind of wanted to play with it, see how it goes. In other decks that I've run this in, it is definitely a pretty well-positioned card at the moment. But yeah, that's 4-color Loam. We're going to jump into a league, see how we do. And yeah, see you guys in match number 1. All right, we're here in match 1. We are on the draw for first game. And what do we got here? Well, we only have one land, so I don't think we can keep this. It's also not a colored land. We don't have any type of acceleration, so probably going to be throwing this back. Okay. So now we do have some mana, but it's still just 1 because this is not a land that we would like to have. So, I kind of think we just need to throw this back as well. All right, this seems a little bit better. We have a turn 1 Chalice. We can do a turn 2 Knight, but we need to throw some stuff back. So if we throw back Depths and Tranquil Thicket, we'll be basically all in on the Chalice plan, and we'll need to draw another land in order to play Knight. Is that better? Is it better to have 3 mana, or is it better to have the 3 mana threat and then eventually we draw something? I'm going to err on the side of throwing back lands. So we'll throw back Dark Depths, and then we'll throw back Tranquil Thicket. And then on turn 1, we'll lead on Forest, potentially, in case we're playing a Wasteland strategy. All right, Nurturing Peatland. So not quite sure what that could be yet. All right, so we got a good draw. So I think I'm still just going to go Forest and then Mox Diamond pitching Badlands. And then we can set ourselves up for a Knight of the Reliquary next turn. Not entirely sure what our opponent's on yet, just off of the Peatland. Could also be 4-color Loam, in which case this play is pretty bad. But it could also be some sort of Depths deck as well, which would make it pretty good. Wasteland. Well, we were able to dodge it, so that's a good sign. So now what do we want to do? So I think what I want to do now is I want to fetch for a swamp and then just play Knight. Get our basics out there. Yeah, we're just going to do that. We might be able to top deck something like a Liliana, so having the basic swamp is important. And then we'll run out a Knight of the Reliquary. And let me think about what we'll what we'll be doing with this knight. So we can go for the beatdown plan. But we also might need to do some combo-y stuff as well. Okay, so I drew Mox Diamond. So if they have Merit Lage, what I can do is attack now for 5 because I can pitch the Catacombs. I can attack now for 5. Next turn, if they play a Dark Depths, let's see, is there any risk? I don't think that they can go for Merit Lage this turn. But is there any problem with me waiting? Like, is there any downside to me waiting? I kind of don't think so. I'm in a really good position with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and cast Mox Diamond and pitch the Catacombs. And I think I'll just wait. We haven't seen if this is Turbo Depths, and if it is, then they would have a Elvish Spirit Guide, and they could go like crop rotation for Dark Depths and then cast. All right, so they have a Misty. So here what we can do is get rid of Forest, get Ghost Quarter, and there's a reason that we need to get Ghost Quarter and not Wasteland, and then get rid of their Thespian stage. The reason we need to get Ghost Quarter for it is if we got Wasteland, they could actually pay to copy my Swamp. It would then become a basic because it becomes a copy of it, and then it would fizzle. So I'm going to go ahead and sack and get Ghost Quarter. And then I'm going to go ahead and strip them of their Thespian stage. And if they don't have Thespian stage, I'll be a lot less worried of getting comboed out. So I can start beating down, I think. Reclamation. That's interesting. There's not really too much I want to get yet, though. So I'm just going to go ahead and attack. Put him on a 3-turn clock. All right, crop rotation. Abrupt decay. Sure. On Chalice. Interesting. Okay. Sultide Depths. Oko. Well, that definitely gimps our Knight of the Reliquary, doesn't it? It's a 3/3. So now what am I going to do? Okay, so they're playing some sort of mid-range-ish deck. Sure. And then they're going to get back, what, Thespian stage? Wooded Hills. Okay. All right, so based off of that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and keep beating down on my opponent. Grove doesn't do too much. And there's nothing really right now in my graveyard that I would love to get back. So I think I'm just going to go Grove and then hit my opponent. Only hitting for 3 definitely is not as nice of a clock as we would like. And they can start making food. But not really in a position to do anything else at the moment, I don't think. So make food and then crack it. Probably. Okay, so they get Thespian stage. Molten Vortex. Interesting, interesting. Sort of like a stand-in for Punishing Fire. Kind of. Okay. So they don't have 2 red to deal with my elk at the moment. And we are just flooding. So. Still nothing that I really want to do with Ghost Quarter or any of these other lands. So I'm just going to drop a land and then they're going to get control next turn, aren't they? Yeah. So I think I need to attack the Oko to prevent them from doing that. We're definitely in a bad spot though. Crop rotation. Depths. Yeah, so we're probably just going to get Merit Laged here. Yeah, okay. So unfortunately we can't do anything about that really. And there was nothing really we could do at that point. So they got us. Let's go to game 2. All right. So don't know too much about their deck, but I feel like Spyglass and Assassin's Trophy are probably pretty good. Abrupt Decays seem pretty good as well. My guess is that this is going to end up being a pretty like resource intensive game. Plague Engineer. I don't know if they run like Vampire Hexmage or anything. Swords of Plowshare is also interesting because it's so Chalice seems really good against them, and this obviously shuts off Chalice, but it does deal with Merit Lage as well. Huntmaster also, well, let me think about this. Huntmaster just gets eaten by Oko. I don't think they have enough islands to warrant playing Choke. And then there's also ley lines as well. So the ley lines for dealing with Ren and 6 and whatnot. What if I just brought in 3 ley lines? What if I didn't bring in the Swords of Plowshares? Because we do have other ways to deal with Merit Lage. What if I cut Huntmaster because Oko destroys it? And then I got rid of a Plague Engineer. What else? What else? Punishing Fire helps deal with Planeswalkers. Knight seems really good. Liliana might be a little weak. It doesn't really interact with their Planeswalkers very much. Life from the Loam seems good. And Sylvan Library does as well. And there's not really many lands I think that we can cut since we're already sort of light on lands at 26. Plus all of our specialty lands like Caracas, Maze of Ith, and then the Depths combo. I guess I could cut. Well, actually, we could do something kind of cute. We could get a Thespian stage and potentially copy something of theirs. Yeah, this is hard. What about Dark Confidant? I guess Dark Confidant dies to Ren and 6, so that's pretty bad. Maybe I leave in 1, 2 Lilianas, and we just try it like that. I like keeping in the Tomek as well. All right, so what do we got here? We got tons of mana disruption, and we have ways to recur that, and then we also have Chalice as well. So I think I can keep this. It's not fast, but I don't think that we necessarily need to be fast against them. I think we just need ways to interact with their mana base, or their combo, their lands. All right, so they start with ley line. So that's going to make our life from the loam pretty bad. Go ahead and lead with Grove. We want to be able to cast a Liliana, but I don't think necessarily doing it like right on time is that important. Exploration. Okay. That is definitely not something we want to see. So this is like rug lands then. I think that's what they call it. All right. So they're going to be playing 2 a game or 2 a turn, 2 lands per turn, which is definitely bad news for us. But we're just going to chalice on 1 and see if that does anything. Just one of those hands that, you know, if I had a Mox Diamond, it would have made a huge difference. Maybe it means that I shouldn't have kept this, but you know, hindsight's 2020. It's part of what I'm doing, trying to figure out how I should play this stuff. All right, so we're in real trouble now because they're going to be locking down like everything, and there's not much that we can do in response. All right, so I think that our only real way that we're going to start winning this game is to drop Liliana and have it. Yeah, it's basically just to drop Liliana and then just start ticking up with it. If we get to a point where we can end up, playing Leyline of the Void, we might be able to get out from underneath this monstrosity that we have going on here. But that's some pretty high hopes, I think. All right, so Life from the Loam does nothing against us. Or nothing with us, so that's fine. And we got to get rid of an Oka, which is definitely relevant. But they're going to be Sylvan Librarying every turn now, which is unfortunate. And they take some damage to draw an extra card. Also not good news for us. All right, so they got back the Wasteland, but then they didn't play it. Maybe I was just misseeing something. Okay, so they drew an Oko. It's going to be pretty tough to beat. Well, I don't really see how we can beat this, to be honest. I think we're a couple draw steps away from just a concession. Yeah, so we can't even cast the Knight. Anything we Wasteland, they're just going to get back. I guess we're not like totally out of it yet, but they can even just start pinging Liliana to like keep it away from ultimating as well. Yeah, I think that we're probably locked out of this. Don't really want to sit here for another 15 minutes to try and figure that out, but oh well. On to the next match. All right, this time we are on the play. Let's see what we got. So we have a Chalice, but we don't have any fast mana, and we don't have any green mana, and we can't cast anything other than the Chalice, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that back. In this hand, I think this is probably keepable, right? We can fetch for a basic or something, and we can get Ren and 6 followed by Liliana. We can throw back one of these Ren and 6s, and then have some removal for some stuff. So it's not a totally busted hand, but might be able to get the job done. Opponent is thinking. All right, so I'm going to lead on Foothills because it's my worst of the 2 fetches. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be grabbing a basic forest with this. Okay, Delver, sure. So now we're at a turning point. We can either abrupt decay the Delver, or we can try and go for Ren and 6 and risk it getting dazed. And we also lose to Wasteland as well. Let me think. Opponent is thinking during my upkeep. Just waiting. All right. Mox Diamond. Does that change anything about what we want to do? It kind of does, actually. It means that I think I'm more likely to lead on Mox Diamond and pitch the Verdant Catacombs because I won't be as worried about Wasteland to mess with my colors. And I kind of like being able to just Punishing Fire the Delver because Abrupt Decay is going to be relevant against a lot of their other threats as well. I don't really want to basically just waste this. Okay, so we go Mox Diamond. During their upkeep, we look at what they would draw if they reveal it, and then we Punishing Fire them. And then if they want to, like, if they want to deal with that, then if we draw a land, we have Liliana, but we lose the days. Maybe it is just better just go for Ren and 6 here. We're like so far ahead if we do. Okay, yeah, I kind of like that. Let's just play for the move that like blows them out more. So I'll go ahead and fetch for basic forest still, so we don't get just absolutely obliterated by wastelands. And one time, no days. All right, Force of Will. I'm kind of okay with seeing Force of Will because that's a lot of resources that they're getting rid of, and this is looking like it's going to be kind of a resource intense game. Usually in this matchup, I feel like they either just waste us super quick or we chalice really quick, and then it's just kind of a people are on low resources. But it looks like we're going to be getting to play with all of our fun toys. Okay, so now we have Punishing Fire up, and it'll be interesting if they don't play another land. That'll be really interesting. And they don't play another land. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to Punishing Fire this. And I'm not going to wait until I'm not going to wait until upkeep because they play Spell Snare. Another Force of Will for the Punishing Fire. Okay, sure. We still have more removal, so we'll take a little bit more damage. But I think that's fine. All right, so they have Wasteland, but nothing to waste. Hex Drinker. Kind of need to prioritize that, I think, because that's gonna get annoying pretty quick. All right, so let's see. Sylvan Library. So I think I need to prioritize killing this Hex Drinker because they're gonna start. They're gonna, 2 more level ups, and it gets protection from colors. But I kind of want to make them waste the mana too, right? So I think what I'll do is I'm gonna fetch for basic swamp right now because they're probably playing the no bad card Rug Delver, but if they have Stifle, that's something I want to consider. And then I'm gonna wait until they're gonna do their 1 level up at sorcery speed, and then after they do the second one before it resolves, I'm going to Abrupt Decay the Hex Drinker. Okay, so just double check. So this is going to go up to 2, and that's fine. And then now we're going to Abrupt Decay. And then so next turn what we could do is drop Liliana and then Edict them. Hopefully they don't have any other counter magic. So let's go for that. And then Edict them. Nice. Okay. I feel like we're in an okay spot now. Dark Confidence kind of a bad draw because we don't really want to go too low on our life total because they'll probably have bolts and stuff. Another Delver. Okay. So what we want to see right now is like Ren and 6. Knight. Knight's pretty good. So is there any merit to to leading with Library versus Knight? So Knight can get us some more resources, but they do have a Wasteland. If we get Sylvan Library, we do not progress our board state like at all, but we do get more outs to drawing. Oh, you know what I can do actually? If I play Knight, I can, in a pinch, I can tap it when it's next turn, get Grove, and get back Punishing Fire. So I think that's good enough for me to go with Knight. I just need to live a little bit longer, I think, and then I can like really stabilize. Discard the Dark Confidant for the reasons that I just mentioned. And then Liliana at least is going to probably save us 3 life in the worst case scenario, because if this flips here, which it does, they're going to have to swing into the Liliana. Otherwise, it'll just trade with it. And attacking, yeah, attacking Liliana, sure. And then they have True Name. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's definitely annoying. So, based on True Name, we drew Punishing Fire. So, is there anything we can do with Knight at the moment? I guess if they tap out, we can go for the Dark Depths kill, right? We can also do something kind of cute as well if they try to Wasteland. I shouldn't bet on my opponent not having stuff or not being able to do stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and Punishing Fire on Delver and then pass it back. So this puts on a 3-turn clock here. But they're actually like on a somewhat of a clock as well. Sure, so they attack. We also haven't seen red yet. That doesn't mean that they don't have it. It just means that we haven't seen it yet. Okay, so if we go and now fetch for something. If we get Wasteland, we can make Knight go up to 7, right? But I really want to draw Liliana. Liliana or Plague Engineer. So those are my outs. So I don't think I'm going to win if I do that and then go down to not 3 mana. So I think I just need to pass. Draw a Wasteland anyway. Okay. So I think I'm just going to go Wasteland. I'll waste their... I'm more worried about Gurmag Angler. I guess it doesn't really matter. Any threat kind of kills me, but we'll just get rid of the Underground Sea. And they tap it for black. And then we're going to go to combat. And we will swing. Bring them down to 11. And then let's drop Sylvan Library. And then maybe next turn capitalize on that by drawing a Liliana or something. Definitely in a bad spot here, but might be able to squeeze a win pest. Good old Sultai Delver, maybe? All right, lands. They didn't have that before, but that's it. Okay. So we need Plague Engineer or Liliana, I think, right now. And I don't think that that does it. Yeah. I don't think that there's anything here that we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and concede. All right. So I kind of like the chokes against them. We also didn't see red. We didn't see red, so I don't really know what to make of that. They're probably playing Oko, but they might just be playing straight Bug Delver. So I like chokes and I like the Plague Engineer. Reclamation seems pretty slow. Ren and 6 seems good. Liliana deals with True Name. Tomek is good against Wasteland and stuff. So this is a matchup where I feel like maybe cutting some lands might not be the worst thing. We have the Depths combo where we could just like cut Depths. Nah. What if I just trim a Confidant? You know, when in doubt, you just trim some stuff, right? And then I kind of like Life from the Loam too. Well, we gotta trim something, right? Sylvan Library also seems like really slow. Okay, let's just try this. Let's just try it like that. All right, so we are on the play. Turn 2 Liliana, and we have a ton of lands, but we can't really capitalize on anything other than that. We have like a turn 2 way to deal with Delver, but if we get countered, we're just like in the dust. So I think that that's a mulligan. This one's much better. This is a keep. So we have land into Mox Diamond into Chalice of the Void. I think that's almost certainly what we're going to do in turn 1. And then we need to throw something back, right? So we can either get rid of Abrupt Decay, Ren and 6, or Liliana. Liliana, I think, will help us deal with like a lot of stuff. Ren and 6 obviously will get us to better places as well. Ren and 6 will deal with Delver. I think I'm going to throw back actually Abrupt Decay. I think I'm going to throw back Abrupt Decay because Ren and 6 keeps us, like if we're able to stick both of these, we're like in really, really good shape. Or let's see, Ren and 6, if the Chalice sticks, it'll let us still deal with Delver, but like a Tarmogoyf, we can Liliana the Veil it, I guess. But if they do a Planeswalker thing, that'll be annoying. All right. This is difficult. Let me think. Abrupt Decay is like such a catch-all against other stuff. I'll just go with my initial reaction, which is to throw back that card. All right. So I think we're going to pitch the Grove to the Mox Diamond. So let's go Catacombs, and let's fetch for a Forest for Renin 6, cast Mox Diamond, pitch Grove, and then let's go for Chalice on 1. All right, it's a good start. Delta and pass, sure. Another Mox Diamond. Okay, well that's actually pretty good because we can put another land behind Mox Diamond. So let's go for Renin 6. And let's return Grove. And then let's cast Mox Diamond. Now our mana base is in like such a good spot. We can avoid a lot of wasteland stuff. Notably, Mox Diamonds can get Oko'd. That is something that can happen. But that seems like a little while away, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. All right, no 2-mana play. So I'm hoping that they're like running off of the back of a True Name or something. So I'm going to go ahead and get Catacombs, play Catacombs, and then I'm going to play Liliana and tick her up. So now we're pretty safe to True Name as well. They might have Abrupt Decay here, but we at least have enough diverse threats. So it looks like they're trimming to just try and not draw lands, I think. Okay. Oko? Okay. Oko. You have an Oko. You have some food. So this is where having the Abrupt Decay would definitely be good, but our Planeswalkers might be able to get there. So I don't really want to draw land, so I'm just going to go ahead and fetch, and I'll grab a basic swamp. We have our colors basically taken care of at this point. Another Chalice. Not the best thing to see, but it does deal with Abrupt Decay. And by deal with it, I mean that they would need to be able to do both now. So I'll grab Grove, and then I'll play Grove, and then I will tick up Liliana. And then we'll pass it on back. All right, so they're going to turn their food into a beater. And my guess is probably come at Liliana. Yeah. That seems like the better thing to do. All right, removal spell would be great. Another Liliana, that's not that bad. All right, so let's go ahead and let's make them sack the food. Then let's run out another Liliana. Counterspell for that? Okay. So I guess I could have played around Drown in the Loch by returning something to my hand, but I definitely did not think about that. All right, so then I'll just grab a Catacombs, play Catacombs, and then pass. And then they Abrupt Decay, sure. So we're in a pretty bad spot. This is a pretty textbook example of why this Planeswalker is so good. It's basically the only thing that I have to kill it is Abrupt Decay. and it's going to neuter so much of my other threats. Okay, so Grove is something. Grove is something. So I guess I can deal with whatever they turn into an elk. So I can go ahead and try to do that because I can just go ahead and ping their food or whatever they turn into an elk once, return it with Grove, and then do it again because I do have triple red here. All right, so they're going to attack, and I will punishing fire them. And then let's go ahead and return punishing fire. And then let's do it one more time. Okay. Save some damage, but they have a 3 mana, 10 loyalty planeswalker out, and they're playing True Name. Oh, Ashiok. All right, so let's just fetch in response so that we get a land out of this. And I'll grab a scrub land. All right, they're going to exile our graveyard. That's a pretty bad draw. I think we're about to start getting just shut out by Oko. Ren and 6. Ren and 6 does not do too much, unfortunately, because our graveyard is going to get exiled every turn. We can't search for anything. And Oko is just going to turn food into... just going to turn food into an elk. But I don't think I have anything else that I can do other than sort of play into that and save some life. Maybe they'll try and throw some resources at this. So let's just tick up and target nothing. But I'm going to play the Wooded Foothills because it doesn't do anything other than give my opponent more information. And if I sack it, I take an extra damage and I can't search. So I don't really think that there's a point in doing that. Probably going to attack Ren and 6, sure. Honestly, if I was them, I would just start hitting me. So what have we exiled so far? So we've exiled a Abrupt Decay, all 3 of the Lilianas, Caracas. Okay, it's good to keep in mind. Plague Engineer. Well, that's just going to turn into an elk, isn't it? I really don't think that there's much that I can do in this position. I think I'm just like on Abrupt Decay or Bust. And I don't want to play the... I don't want to play the Plague Engineer because it's right now my only way to deal with like True Name. And if it gets turned into an elk, then its effect obviously goes away. But if it's, as long as it hits the board, it at least does something. All right, so they're going to kill off Ren and 6. And then Ashiok's going to make me exile my graveyard, I think. They're going to make more food. All right. Choke is very late. I don't think that that's really going to do anything. I guess I'll play it because I got nothing else going on. But definitely seems late because they can just win off of this Oko now. I'm gonna like stick it through just because of the slight chance that I can somehow make it out of this alive, but Even with just the 2/3/3s, I think it's going to be more and more difficult. All right. Draw step. Does nothing. All right. I think I've probably seen enough. We're going to take 3 this turn, and then even if I abrupt decay or whatever, I think I'm pretty close to drawing dead. So, GG. We got slaughtered. See you guys in the next match. All right. We're currently 0-2. Maybe we can turn the ship around. I don't really think we've been playing poorly, though. So I don't really know what else I can be sort of doing better. I think that the thing so far I've learned is that I've got to be able to mulligan a little bit better. I'm going to throw that back. Only 1 mana. And this is also not a great hand either. This is also not a great hand either. I think we have to throw this one back too. You know, only the 1 land with Mox Diamond. If we draw a land, I think we're in pretty good shape. But if we don't, that's kind of a pretty big problem, right? So do we play to draw land? We technically get 2 draw steps, but if we do it on the first turn. So we have 25 lands in the deck left. So that's a 25 out of 53. So a little bit less than a 50-50 odds. Do our odds go down enough if we go to 5? They actually might. I think that I'm going to try and... keep this. And... what do we want to throw back? It's either going to be Knight or Liliana. I think I'm going to keep this and throw back Knight. Because when the Knight does come down, it's not going to be very big at all. But Liliana will have some immediate work getting done, I think. All right, Snow-Covered Island, Brainstorm. So that could be a bunch of things. Could be 4-color snow. Could be... there's like that High Tide Echo of Eons deck, too. Could be that. All right. Let's draw a land. 1 time. Not a land. Okay. So I think we still are going to want a Mox Diamond. So I think we just pass turn and make our opponent unclear of what we are on. Two basics. Counterbalance. Well, that is reason to play out the Mox Diamond, isn't it? Okay, so that is a land. That is a land. So we can run out the Thespian stage. I actually think that based off of this mana base, the Thespian stage is better. And then go Mox Diamond and pray that it doesn't get counterbalanced. So let's just go for that. All right, please don't have a land on top. Okay, so 3 mana is on top. Let's Chalice for 1. And they're going to force it. Sure. Monastery Mentor? Yeah. All right. So if we draw a land, we can abrupt decay that, and we probably will abrupt decay that. But we didn't. So I think we just need to run out Dark Confidant here into a counterbalance. And they have Swords to Plowshares, which they probably will play. And these Lilianas are pretty dead in our hand. And this board state is about to get really big. Opponent is deep in the tank. All right, Swords of Plowshares on Confidant. No card draw for me. And then get smacked in the face for 4. Sure. Okay, Wooded Foothills. So, definitely playing that. And I think that our way out of this mess is to Abrupt Decay on the Mentor, and then Abrupt Decay on the Counterbalance, and then go for Liliana stuff. So I think we're going to do that. And I need to get a black source of some kind. I need to get a black source for Liliana, and then also for Abrupt Decay. So I think I will just get Bayou, and let's kill the Monastery Mentor. And I'm going to do that during my turn just because, well, I guess I could have done it during their upkeep, and that would have been a little bit better. Jace. Jace is pretty good. I think it might change our plan of... I think it probably makes us want to go for Liliana first next turn, and then just start dealing with the tokens. I think like a great draw would be... A great draw right now would be like Plague Engineer. All right, so let's drop Verdant Catacombs, and let's... Oops, not pay correctly. Let's drop Liliana. Hope that there isn't something on top. Okay, didn't reveal. And let's make you get rid of one of your tokens. And then we'll pass it back. So now their one token can challenge the Liliana, but we do have the second one. And they're going to start brainstorming. So this is looking like Jeskai Mentor, or maybe just Miracles. Just old school Miracles. All right, so we have the second Abrupt Decay to deal with that Monastery Mentor, which is what we're going to do. And I'd like to be able to do both in the same turn, so I'm not going to fetch and get a land. Great. Okay, so let's fetch here. And let's get a swamp. And I'm going to play Liliana. Okay, Force of Will. All right, that misplay may have cost me the game, although this was already pretty hard to get out of. If I Abrupt Decayed it first, they probably wouldn't have had a spell to cast. So that's a pretty good reason to do the Abrupt Decay first, because they could have Force of Will to make tokens and stuff, but like, you know, why would they do that? So we're gonna Abrupt Decay now, when I should have done it first. Legacy's hard, man. But now we have no cards in hand, and we are in a pretty bad spot. Something that would help us right now is Dark Depths combo. I feel like just drew Depths right now. That would be pretty good. Another counterbalance. And bad draw. I'm just going to not even give my opponent that information, but they are probably going to start Jace ticking up on us. Ponder. And actually, if they cast a few more spells, we are even just dead from getting beat down as well. Still brainstorming. I guess it makes sense when you have a board state that can go the distance. Swing for 4. Let me just draw my one card and confirm that I'm totally out of it. And I'm out of it. All right. Let's go to the next game. Okay, so I like Huntmaster a lot. This is like one of those matchups where I think that this card is actually going to be pretty good. I like Choke. Spyglass is interesting. Plague Engineer is good. Sanctum Prelate can be good as well. It's also Thalia's. Assassin's Trophy for Jace. And what, like, isn't good? Kind of like all the slower stuff here. Punishing Fire can deal with a Monastery Mentor or a token. Renin 6 can definitely give us value as well, but like the Wastelands are not nearly as good. Okay, I think I'm going to cut Maze of Ith because that sort of does stone cold nothing. And then of the things that we're going to bring in, how much are like definite? Sanctum Prelate is kind of meh. I like Plague Engineer a lot. Choke is, if we're not bringing it in this matchup, like what are we bringing it in for? You know. So let's bring in 2 chokes. I really just want to run the Huntmaster and Plague Engineer. So if we do that, what can we get rid of? We get rid of 1 Punishing Fire. They might bring in Rest in Peace. So like Reclamation might be bad as well. What else? Tomic is bad too. So it is 60 cards. I'll just go ahead and run it like this. See how it goes. And we'll be on the play. So what do we got here? We have turn 1 Dark Confidant. I think that that is good enough against them. So I'm going to keep it. So let's go. Is there anything fancy we want to do with our lands? I kind of don't think so. And I think we can get rid of the Ghost Quarter. So let's go scrub lands, Mox Diamond, get rid of Ghost Quarter, and let's play Dark Confidant. And they're going to force that. Okay. Sure. So next turn, I think we'll probably want to go for Knight of the Reliquary. Astrolabe. All right, let's go and fetch for a forest. And let's run out Let's run out Knight of the Reliquary. And then pass it on back. Swords to Plowshares? No. Astrolabe, okay. Then Swords to Plowshares, okay. And I'm guessing they can't do anything else. Ship it on back to us. Mox Diamond. All right, well, I think I'll just pass and have Abrupt Decay up. Another Knight was a good draw. I think I'll probably go Mox Diamond, discard the land, and then let's go ahead and drop Knight. And they'll force it back, sure. So I'm trying to see what they have in their hand right now. My guess is like a Jace, because they got 2 cards in their hand. Yeah. Chalice. Ah, Surgical on the Knight. That's interesting. That definitely gets rid of one of my biggest beaters. Actually, not one of it. It is my biggest one, right? All right, so let's go ahead and Chalice for 1. Maybe that will slow them down a little bit. And what do we have here? Aha. Okay, okay. So they got lots of answers for lots of things. What I'm hoping for here is a Monastery Mentor, but they have Jace. All right. So I'm definitely in trouble. Grove does very little. I'll just play it, but not much going on with it. Counterbalance is pretty good. I think we kind of have to Abrupt Decay that because we can't risk having any of our threats get dealt with. Caracas. I'm not even going to play that. Liliana. So we have enough to pay for Spell Pierce, but if we're going to end up discarding, we might as well do this now anyway. So and that resolves. Let's make us all discard. Snapcaster? Yep. And then Surgical on... What will you Surgical? Abrupt Decay. So a lot of stuff removed. We have a pretty dense deck list. as in we have a lot of 4 of, so. Then another Snapcaster, which can challenge my Liliana now. And we'll just choose STP, but no big deal. So now they can just beat into my Liliana and then just start Jace upticking me, and I think that I'm pretty much dead from here. Still brainstorming. Mystic Sanctuary. Probably the best common printed in the last year. Well, I say that, and Arkham's Astrolabe is out too, which is also probably a little bit better, to be honest. But Mystic Sanctuary is certainly a darn good land. Choke. Let's just run that out for memes. And they'll just hardcast Force Will on that. Yeah. All right. This is pretty much over, I think. So we have gone 0-3, and we haven't even won again for me. I really don't know if I misplayed anything crazy, though. There were like little interaction things, like last game with the Abrupt Decay, thinking about that I should have Abrupt Decay first, but I don't think I was going to win that game anyway. And I'm trying to think if there were other moments. I'm sure that there were other moments I did things that were maybe not optimal, especially in mulliganing. But I like mulligan down to 5 a few times and whatever. But man, 0-3 and not winning a game. Never feels good when you end up dropping a league. Thespian stage. I don't think that really does anything. But maybe we go runner on Dark Depths and can just steal a win that way. But yeah, my last league that I played was basically dominated by Delver. Oko is a really good card. It makes this deck a lot worse, I think, because Oko can just turn your knights into irrelevant creatures. And the grindiness of the list, I think, is just sort of outpaced by the tempo strategies that Delver decks have, and then they also have like enough of a long game now to sort of keep pace as well. So, and we drew another land. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of seems like this deck is maybe doing things a little bit worse than what other decks are doing. So it's kind of jack of all trades, master of none. Like it has Chalice going on, but you can't really prison lock too many things. The fact that you're running Mox Diamonds means that your resources in the early game might get just totally annihilated. Like you basically do a really risky thing at the beginning, which is that you run out a Mox Diamonds and you have fewer cards in hand. But the idea is you're supposed to stick some sort of threat that can then sort of go the distance and help you stabilize and potentially lock out your opponent over the next few turns. So, you know, you get a Renin 6 and maybe you can do some Wasteland stuff, or you can cycle with some lands. Speaking of lands, we're going to draw some more. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's in a pretty bad spot because right now all the decks have good answers to some of that early interaction. You know, like for example, they can just play their own Renin 6 and then your Wastelands aren't really doing much against them. Or, you know, turn 3 they can drop Oko and there's not really anything in the deck other than Abrupt Decay that can deal with that, and then you're just kind of hoping that you're drawing your answers, right? So yeah, I don't know. Definitely disappointing, but magic is magic. All right, yeah. I don't think I can beat a Monastery Mentor. So I'm going to go ahead and just concede this. And, yeah, disappointing. All right, so we went 0-3, and then I just went ahead and dropped because don't really feel like playing out more matches. More matches where I haven't even won a game. So yeah, didn't even win a game. That is pretty darn bad. Um, like I was saying, I don't know if there was much I could have changed. Stack might not be totally optimized. In fact, it isn't. It's got some choices that are a little bit unorthodox, but I don't think they're like entirely out of left field. I did see like more than one list run this and more than one list run Tomic as well. Um, but yeah, we just sort of it felt like bringing a knife to a gunfight. We got answered out of every corner that we were trying to attack our opponents from, and then basically the idea of this deck is that you go down to 0 resources and then you bring your opponent down with you, and then this deck can operate under low resources much better. But what seemed to happen more was that we went down to low resources and our opponent just didn't like at all. Um, and yeah, can't really win those matches. But yeah, disappointing. But thanks for joining us on first installment of this. Learning a bunch of new decks and stuff. Probably won't be picking this one up again until I either get a better feel of it or talk to some more people about its position in the metagame right now. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time.